Good Friday afternoon, everyone. Welcome back here to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. We are going to be going live this afternoon for a little while, talking about the long range weather forecast. We're going to be doing a deep dive into the long range forecast here. I really wanted to put emphasis on this as well because everybody's wondering where the winter weather has gone and again where all the cold is. We are going to start to see some of that cold air, I think, later this month, and then eventually getting in towards, early February as well. And that could be, where we could also start seeing more snowfall as we get closer towards that time frame. So we're going to be going over the weather, the long range weather forecast here in this live stream. Again, this is mainly to benefit you because we are definitely going to be looking at some active weather. We already have seen some very active weather here across portions of California and the West as well. And again, this is going to be going forward through the next couple of weeks out west. We have several storm systems lining up out west across portions of California, and that is going to continue for the foreseeable future with lots of flooding out west. We're going to be seeing lots of heavy snow out west as well. So let's do kind of a deep dive here into the weather forecast for you and what we are seeing here currently. Okay, so we have the trough out west here, and of course, that's bringing all of that dangerous flooding and that heavy snow with the heavy, higher mountain snows here across the Sierra Nevada mountains, and then again across the Rocky Mountains as well. But off to the east, we really don't have much in the way of active weather. We have some clipper systems moving through, but no blockbuster snow, no blockbuster rain type systems, nothing like that. We just have a lot of high and dry weather across the eastern 2/3 of the country. And the reason for that is because if you look at the heights here, these are the mid-level heights here, just looking at the CFS model of what we have currently. Again, that trough out west, we have a high pressure system centered across central and eastern 2/3 of Canada here. And we're going to be seeing that for the foreseeable future. Now, if I go out in time, this is this week. As we go into next week, this gets a little bit more interesting here, where this starts to break down just a little bit. We have a little bit of a trough trying to move in over underneath that high pressure system across the southeast. We have that trough continuing in a big way across the west, and we also have that high pressure system across southwest or southeastern portions of Canada during this time frame. And then as we go towards the end of the month, look how interesting this weather pattern does start to become. This is again the CFS version 2 model. This does a fairly decent job of showing some of that cold air and some of the heights here with what the jet stream pattern could look like and what the upper levels of the atmosphere could look like here. And it does show some blue anomalies across the western 2/3 of the country. And we start to exit some of those warmer oranges and red colors farther north and east. We have a favorable blocking pattern trying to develop across Greenland. And that is what you want to see if you want some heavy snow across the Midwest, the Central Plains, and even the Ohio Valley. You want to have a blocking pattern across Greenland. And that looks like what we could start to see as we get toward that last full week in January. We're talking January 21st through the 28th timeframe, and then getting beyond there towards early February. Now, take this with a grain of salt because this is a little far out, but it does look like that pattern will be there for that polar vortex to move farther south. We have the blocking off to the west here with the high pressure system across the southern Aleutian Islands over here toward Alaska and the northeastern Pacific Ocean. And if you guys see this, we have a very favorable jet stream pattern as well. We have a ridge across the southeast. We have that trough and that polar vortex farther to the north with that low pressure system anchored across those regions. And yes, it does look like we have, that temperature battle zone going on here towards the end of January and into early February. So what does all of this mean with snowfall potential? And again, I will get to the chat here in just a moment. Thanks for all you guys joining here this morning. I definitely appreciate it. Or this afternoon, rather. It's already afternoon, but again, just doing a long-range weather forecast discussion here today. Again, thanks for everybody joining. I definitely appreciate it. You guys rock. But yeah, looking here this afternoon, We are seeing all that active weather out west, but it does look like we are going to start to see that breakdown again, like I said, late this month going into early February. So what does this mean for precipitation standards? So right now, this is what we're seeing here. And again, I could zoom this in for you guys a little bit more so you guys can see that. We have the wetter conditions out west with all these green and even these bluer anomalies. That is well above average precipitation for this time of year. And again, we're going to be seeing the drier weather farther east. We're not seeing much precipitation across the southern or eastern 2/3 of the United States here. We got that high pressure system anchoring all of our weather off to the east and that trough and low pressure system off to the west. But watch how this changes as we get toward the middle of the month. We start to see these systems continue to move eastward in towards the Midwest, portions of the Missouri Valley bringing some precipitation, but again, no blockbuster snows, no blockbuster rainfall events or anything crazy like that. Again, maybe some precipitation up toward the northeast, but I do suspect even toward the middle of the month, this precipitation will mainly fall as liquid, as rain, because if you see the temperature anomalies here, they're going to be very warm. We're going to see temperatures 10, 20 degrees above average for the middle of January. And again, this is why we are seeing that liquid precipitation. We just don't have that cold air moving farther to the south. But as we get towards the end of January here, you start to see those colder anomalies start to move in across the West Coast, first across Oregon, California, Nevada here. And again, the eastern 2/3 of Canada and the United States will be much above average, still 10, 15, 20 degrees above average toward that third week in January. But toward the very end of January and towards February here, there is a signal on the CFS model, the Climate Forecasting System version 2 model here. Again, does a fairly decent job at tracking this, and it has the colder anomalies farther west, and again, the warmer anomalies farther east, but this could be bringing down that polar vortex into early February, and you can see that intrusion moving across the northern plains, places like the Dakotas, Minnesota, Montana, and much of the Canadian provinces up here across Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and eventually Quebec, Canada as well, and that takes us all the way through the February 10th, 2023 timeframe, so that will be something to consider as we get a little bit closer there. And again, that favorable jet stream pattern, you probably, if you guys can imagine, that mid-level jet here, kind of that traffic zone for those low pressure systems will be anchored across Texas through the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, and that temperature battle zone will be going on. We could have a severe weather side across the Southeast, a mixed precipitation zone somewhere into the Arklatex to the Ohio Valley, with some sleet, freezing rain, and some snow in there, maybe some liquid precipitation with rainfall as well. And then on the northwestern side of any of these low pressure systems, while this pattern is in place, we could be seeing those heavier snows and maybe even blizzard type conditions if we get a bigger type of system to move in during that time frame. So again, if you guys are here in the live stream, I definitely would appreciate if you would press that like button down below, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you guys are new, definitely much appreciated. I have a video out this morning outlining some of this potential as well, so I definitely appreciate all of the support out there. We've been growing this channel very nicely over the past couple of days. We've been over 12, we've been back to around 10,000. First hit my 10,000 subscriber mark just a couple of days ago, and now we're already over 12,000. So thank you to all the new subscribers out there. You guys are amazing. I have an amazing support behind my channel, so I definitely appreciate it, guys. And again, if you guys support my channel and you support these weather discussions and live streams and my videos and everything, just press the like button and subscribe, guys. It's the easiest two buttons you guys will press here, I promise you that. So thank you guys so much for the support out there. But looking here ahead towards that time frame again, that's what we're eyeing up, late January and towards early February. Now let's look at this a little bit closer in detail here, because that was just the big picture. So let's kind of break this down. Again, you can only look at the big picture with the long range forecast as much as you can, but you can only go into detail as much as you can as well. So we'll try and do that as much as we can with the evidence that we have using our weather forecast models here. So let's look at the CFS version 2 model again. You can see that cold air across the northeast here. This is the 850 millibar temperature. So this is just a few thousand feet up in the atmosphere. But these temperatures will eventually translate down toward the surface here with time. And you can see toward the middle of the month, we get a little surge of cold weather up into southeastern Canada, but we're truly not seeing that moving south into places like the upper Midwest, the northern plains. That's going to stay off here to the north and east. But as you see, this is getting in towards that 12th time frame, Thursday, January 12th, and then getting towards that, middle of the month time frame. Again, we still have these big surges of warm air out of the Gulf of Mexico. I wouldn't be surprised if we have another severe weather setup here toward the middle of the month around that Monday, January 16th, 17th, 18th time frame here, give or take, with maybe another big slug of warmth and moisture out ahead of another system that will drive up from the lee side of the Rockies and track to the north and east quickly into the Dakotas here in the upper Midwest. That is possible towards the middle of the month here. And again, all that cold air will be up to the north, so the snow side of this will be probably up into southern Canada and maybe as far south as the western Dakotas, and that'll be about it. But watch what happens toward late in the month of January. Again, this is possible. We could have a first Arctic intrusion, one of these polar vortex stretching events, or a polar vortex disruption getting towards that third and fourth week, that final week here in January. That could be pulling down some cold air and could be cold enough for maybe some heavy snow. And then as we get toward the very end of the month here, look at the surge of cold air that does come down from Canada. This is a huge Arctic intrusion, again, toward the very end of the month, and this could be setting up that pattern I was talking about with the very heavy snow, the very heavy rain on the southeastern side, and then that ice storm potential in between across the Arklatex and the Ohio Valley. And then behind that, some negative temperatures are very likely, especially when you see these whites and grays here. That's where we're going to be talking about temperatures, high temperatures at that, potentially back to -10, -20 degrees. So definitely a very volatile atmosphere by the time we get into that time frame. So we'll continue to watch this for you guys. That's just kind of the long range look. That's about as much evidence right now as we can look at least with the temperature perspective. Now let's look at the jet stream here, because this is also important in conjunction with those temperatures. So right now we have more of a zonal flow across the United States, and I guess I could zoom this out a little bit more to show you. This is North America view. Let me know if you can't see this. But looking across the United States, it does show more of a zonal pattern. And when you have zonal flow in the atmosphere, you really don't see a lot of big systems. You got to have those big troughs that dig all the way southward into Texas or toward the Gulf Coast to really get a huge amplifying system. And we don't see that. We have big systems across the eastern Pacific crashing into the West Coast. That'll be bringing all that heavy rain and heavy snow, but that won't really translate much toward the east as we get towards the middle of January. But things do change. If you are a snow lover out there, this is the weather forecast that you would like to see as we get toward the middle of the month. You see one of these troughs potentially try to develop across the southwestern United States. That could be the first of many that we could see to end the month of January and get in toward early February here. And by the time we get here towards, say, that 20th, 21st time frame, we have a trough across the east potentially and another trough incoming, probably a stronger system toward the west coast, again bringing heavy rain, heavy snow into that third week in January across California here, saturating more of that soil out west and bringing a lots of much-needed beneficial rain to that watershed out west as well. And then looking toward the last week in January, you see how this big trough tries to develop. There's a signal there. Again, there's a lot of differences within the long-range guidance, but there is a signal there that we could be talking about some stronger systems potentially opening the door to some bigger blockbuster type snow events, maybe some nor'easters toward the end of January. And I really think early February is the time frame we need to watch this, because we have a huge surge of cold air. And again, this could be setting up these big troughs across the east. And look at this trough here. I'll go back to, let's say, the 23rd time frame. You see this trough across the east. Look at the temperatures during this time. You have enough cold air in place, that polar vortex still up to the north, but we have enough punching down to the south of that cold air in that temperature battle zone, fighting it out to the south. And yeah, we're going to be talking about that getting toward the end of January, bringing heavy snow across the region. So we'll continue to watch that as we get a little bit closer. That's just kind of my thinking on that. So breaking it down for you in layman's terms, through this week, it's going to be all west. It's going to be all west. Heavy rain, heavy snow, and lots of beach erosion and significant waves across the west coast with those big storm systems crashing into California here as well. Also is going to be a lot quieter to the eastern 2/3 of the country, a lot milder as well. And I will show you that here. You can see the temperatures. This is the Climate Prediction Center's 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. This goes from January 13th through all the way through the 19th here of 2023. So right into that third week in January. And you can see they do forecast well above average temperatures centered on the Great Lakes in the Midwest, but that also extends farther south and west toward Texas here, towards Oklahoma, Kansas, and much of the West, where we're seeing the heavy rainfall. Though during that time we were seeing near normal to below normal temperatures, but with all the cloud cover, all the heavy rain across those areas. And looking at the precipitation as well, again looking at much above average precipitation across portions of California, Nevada, and the West. Some of these systems will try to sneak farther to the east toward the Ohio Valley Northeast, but I do emphasize there's not going to be big systems. We're not going to see 12 inches of snow or feet of snow or anything crazy like that, and we really won't see much snow at all because of the cold air is going to be farther up to the north, and we're going to have the warmer air here, as you can see. So when you put warm air together with higher than average precipitation values, you're probably going to see more rainfall during the middle portion here of January. So during the middle portion of January, it does get a little more active toward the mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast, and parts of the mid-Mississippi Valley here. Maybe some lake effect snow if we can get a grasp on some of that cold air from southeastern Canada and move it southward. But other than that, that doesn't look to be the case. Lots of rainfall, I think, winning out with the precipitation types across these areas as we get towards the end of this month. Now, as we kind of look at the California situation right now, you can see this is the Climate Prediction Center as well. This is their forecast. They have a moderate to even high probability during that 13th through 15th time frame. This is getting in towards next week of very heavy precipitation and likely very heavy rain. There could be flooding rain across California here with all the saturated soils here. Just think of it. You have one system moving through here just a few days ago. You had another system moving through this weekend, and then another system going into early to middle portion of next week. And each system that does move through will actually exacerbate the problem here and actually bring more flooding concerns with the saturated soil here. There's not a lot of places for this water to go. And imagine if you have a severe drought across the West like we do in California and Nevada, it's not going to take much to run off all of that water out there and all that snowfall as it does melt in some places. So definitely a lot of concerning for flooding out west. So I'll take your questions. If you guys have any questions in the live chat, remember to put your questions down. I'll be able to answer those as much as I possibly can. I'll try to get to everybody's questions. Again, thank you for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Again, just doing a long range weather forecast discussion. I know you guys have been wanting to know about the winter and when it will return with all the snow and cold air. It is coming, guys. I feel for you snow lovers out there. I do think toward the end of January and into early February, we're going to open that door yet again to winter, and I think it's going to stick around for quite some time. There are signs that the entire month, virtually, of February could be extremely active and extremely cold as well. So if you think winter's over, think again, because there is some big changes ahead, I do think. And it's been a consistent signal as well. So we'll continue to watch that. I mean, this has been a very consistent signal for the last several days and really the last couple of weeks. And I think the worst of it is the worst of winter is yet to come. So if you think it's been cold in January or back in December and you think it's been snowy, think again, because it's the worst of winter is still ahead of us this year. We aren't past that quite yet. I think February is going to be probably the worst month for winter weather across the United States. That's just in my opinion. So let's get through some of your questions out there. Again, thank you, Saunders, for the super sticker out there. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you for the donation. Again, if you guys want to donate to the channel, there's super stickers down there. If you guys want to donate, again, you don't have to, but I definitely would appreciate that if you guys did that as well if you wanted to. So thank you so much. Again, I just wanted to let you know that the super stickers are down below. If you wanted to donate to the channel, you don't have to at all. So let's see here. Eric says hi, everyone. Well, hello, Eric. Thanks for joining. Lila says hi. Thank you for joining, Lila. Hello to you. Finders Keepers. I thought the Ohio Valley was going to be active this year. Yes, the Ohio Valley has been very quiet. You are correct. Like I said, as we get towards that time frame here, and I'll zoom it in for you guys, just yet again to the United States. You see the Ohio Valley here. You got Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and even Michigan here toward the Great Lakes region. You can see toward the middle of the month. You are correct. We're not really seeing that big cold air. You don't see the whites and pinks and purples up here toward the Ohio Valley. There's a lot of oranges and greens moving through. But watch toward the end of the month. Like I said, we got a big slug of cold air moving through. Our first one could be coming through towards the third week in January. So eyeing that around the January 20th through the January 27th time frame. And then going through the end of the month, look at the big surge of Arctic air from Canada into the Midwest and the Great Lakes here. That will be pushing probably farther south than the first one. And this will be taking us to the end of January. And this one could push that freezing line all the way south to central or south central Texas. That could be pushing that freezing line farther south here into places like the Alabama, Mississippi, and the Carolinas as well. And again, all these temperatures up here into the pinks and the whites and grays will be below zero. That is a likelihood at this point, looking at this model. And then going through the end of January, that really sticks around, and it kind of moderates toward the very end of the month, and then another surge potentially as we get towards early February. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities for cold, and I think plenty of opportunities for snow in the Ohio Valley, because you're going to be on the northern side of a couple of these troughs. You can see one of these more significant troughs will be moving through across this region toward that 23rd time frame. Maybe some snow across parts of the Northeast and Ohio Valley. Yet to be determined how much snow we could see off that, but I do feel confident there will be some type of storm moving through towards that third week in January here, toward that 23rd time frame. And then that polar jet starts to become a little more active, right? Because we've had that subtropical jet has been extremely active. We're almost in like an El Nino pattern right now with all that precipitation in California while we're in a moderate La Nina. It's kind of strange to think about, but as we get toward the end of the month, that polar jet starts to move in toward the United States, bringing all of that colder air farther south. You have that subtropical jet trying to phase together, and if we could see these jet streams phase together like you see across the Northeast here, there is a potential, like I said, of a blockbuster snow getting towards the end of January and into early February. And that pattern really just continues for the foreseeable future as we get into early February. And that includes the Ohio Valley. So thank you for asking that or leaving that comment down below on the Ohio Valley. Definitely appreciate it. Mike says, thank you for your time and service that is beneficial for many. God bless you and all. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you for joining this afternoon. Definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I'm here to answer all your questions, guys. So if you guys have any questions, drop them down in the live stream here. And again, thank you to Saunders for that super sticker. Definitely appreciate it. And again, Saunders says, hi, we are having some crazy, weird weather. I have never seen anything like it. Yeah, we're more in an El Nino type of pattern right now. So it's kind of interesting. And I'll actually show you this right now. These are what we're seeing. This is the sea surface temperatures as of this morning and actually getting into this afternoon. We still have the La Nina present across the equatorial Pacific right now. But you see these orange blobs start to show up. They're very small on the screen for you guys, but there are there. And they're probably going to become more numerous as we go on in time through the winter, as that ENSO neutral cycle and that El Nino flip could become more apparent as we get toward the middle of spring and in towards the summer months. And looking at that here a little bit closer, you can see that right now we are still in a moderate La Nina. We're at a negative 1.105. And essentially for a La Nina, you have to have negative values. That's where we're at now. And for a moderate La Nina, you have to be negative 1.0 or lower. And a strong La Nina is characterized as a minus 1.5 or lower. So we're getting pretty strong here with the La Nina. We're in a moderate La Nina right now. And it's really been that way all the way back to around Halloween, getting back here toward the middle of October. So it's been that way for quite some time. And again, I think we're going to be trending more towards ENSO neutral here, which is at the zero value, and then eventually toward the positive values getting in toward the summer months. But again, that's far down the road. But we could be flipping back to potentially a weak El Nino going towards late spring and eventually into summer of 2023, which will be very interesting as well. And I'm getting a little bit closer to releasing my early thoughts on spring of 2023 as well. So we're going to be checking that out in the next couple of weeks. I'll be releasing my spring outlook for you guys so you guys can get an early taste on what I expect to see during the months of March, April, and May. And I'll be diving deeper into that as the time frame gets closer. I'll be releasing my spring outlook, so that'll be lots of fun as well. Eric says, I thought, okay. Matthew Mittens, thank you for joining. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you for joining the live stream here today. Rain Mave says, I love it. Yes, lots of snow coming, guys. Don't quit on winter yet. Trust me. I know. I feel for all you snow lovers out there, but it is coming, I think, toward the end of the month and much of February. I think it's going to be much of February. It's going to be very cold, lots of cold air in place, and lots of active weather as well. So that is what we are currently looking for toward the end of the month. Max says, I heard we're going into an El Nino phase during the spring and summer. Does that mean less tornado outbreaks? I'm in Northwest Indiana. Very good question. That's a very good question. So during an El Nino type, actually, let me start again. During a La Nina type of pattern, we have what you see as, so for example, for a La Nina, guys, if you're looking at the jet stream here, let me zoom out for you guys to kind of show you. What we are seeing currently is more of an El Nino pattern. And you see how the jet stream is more focused across the western United States, and we don't have much going on across the eastern 2/3 of the country. We're technically in a La Nina now, but the El Nino pattern is kind of persistent right now. This is kind of an El Nino pattern, like I've been saying over and over again, and it's been quiet across the eastern 2/3 of the country. And what we're seeing with more of these El Nino patterns is that, yes, it is much drier across the northern and northeastern United States. It's much wetter across the west, as you can see. During an El Nino pattern, you're going to be wetter and more flooding impacts across California, the Pacific Northwest, getting down in towards the monsoonal regions here into Arizona, getting into New Mexico, the lee side of the Rockies, and the Front Range back here toward Denver, and then back into Utah. And that will benefit lots of those ski resorts out west as well, especially during the winter months when you have that cold air in place. You're going to see lots of snowfall on those ski resorts out west. That is during an El Nino. But usually during a La Nina, we have more of the active subtropical jet and that polar jet moving south as well, phasing together right over the Ohio Valley and the East Coast. And usually during a La Nina pattern, we have wetter conditions, lots more snow, lots more rain across the eastern 2/3 of the country. And we're just not seeing that right now. So specifically for your question, does that mean less tornado outbreaks? Potentially. There has been tornado outbreaks during El Nino years, but they have been less frequent. So you got to think of it this way. When you have less troughs digging in towards the center of the country with all that warm air in place, you don't have that, battle zone of the temperatures as much. You don't have the 40 degrees crashing into the 70s during the springtime frame, if you know what I'm talking about, with like the cold fronts moving through. You don't have those crazy temperature contrasts across the middle of the country because we don't have that trough. That trough is more persistent off the west coast. Now, during a La Nina pattern, like what we've been seeing the past year, and actually the past 3 years, is those troughs are farther east toward the eastern 2/3 of the United States. And again, you have more of that temperature battle zone setting up with that trough. That trough brings down all that colder weather with stronger cold fronts, intercepting all that warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico. And boom, you get those temperature battle zones across the eastern 2/3 of the country. And you get a very strong upper level jet streak, and that low level jet starts to strengthen. And there you go. You get some tornado outbreaks during that time frame. So good question out there. Yeah. Does that mean less tornado outbreaks? Probably, yes. And El Nino means less tornado outbreaks and really overall less severe weather, more drought for the Midwest and Ohio Valley during El Nino years. So that's what we could be heading towards in the summer months. We could be heading toward drier conditions across the north and northeast, and wetter conditions like we're seeing now across the southwest and the southern United States. Possibly this upcoming summer. Again, there's a lot of fine tuning we have to do before we say, for sure that we will have, El Nino conditions going into the summer months, but definitely an ENSO neutral pattern as we get into that time frame. Rain Mave says, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if I saw 40 degrees again this January. You're gonna see those warmer temperatures, and let's actually go into that here. Let's look at the European forecast model here and go to the surface temperature and go back down here toward toward the Ohio Valley and stuff like that. Actually, the entire U.S. Actually, it'd probably be better if I used this one here. Just a moment, guys. Looking at this, looking at the temperatures, this is your 2-meter temperature. And again, yes, we're going to be seeing more of those 40-degree highs. This is going into the day tomorrow on Saturday. These are your high temperatures. You got mid-30s to 40s up here into the Ohio Valley again. That's going to be eating away any of the snowpack, if any, across this area. There's not a lot of snow on the ground, if any, across the Ohio Valley or the Illinois Valley up here. That snowpack is all the way across the northern plains here into the Dakotas, Minnesota, and much of southern Canada here has that snowpack. And even that will start to be eaten away at times as this warm air surges north. And again, across the Dakotas into Minnesota, we have high temperatures tomorrow into the teens and 20s. That is because that snowpack is there. But as we go into Sunday, this is Sunday time frame. Again, just a repeat, seasonable temperatures to above normal temperatures across the eastern 2/3 of the country. Again, over that snowpack, we're still going to see highs up here into the Dakotas, Minnesota, the north woods of Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, and all of southern Canada into the teens and low 20s out here going into Sunday, January 8th. But farther south, he's correct, 40s and 50s will be moving in as we get towards that time frame. So, you know, we're just seeing that through the middle of this month. Now, if we move this a little farther down toward the middle of the month, you see how this changes a little bit more. Again, we have another big surge of warmth and moisture that could be making more volatile conditions for maybe some severe weather toward the middle of the month as we get toward that time frame. But we start to pull down a little bit more of that cold air. As we get toward next weekend, we could be talking about some colder temperatures with 20s trying to return across the Ohio Valley. But again, we're not seeing that snowpack, so we're not seeing those cold temperatures. And you got to think about it. If we don't have a snowpack on the ground, temperatures warm up much more expeditiously. But if we have a snowpack on the ground like we do up here to the Dakotas, Minnesota, parts of Wisconsin, especially northern Wisconsin, those lake effect snow bands that have produced relentless snow across the UP of Michigan, northern lower Michigan, and then all of southern Canada, it's a lot colder with temperatures in the teens and 20s going even towards next weekend as well because of that snowpack on the ground. So it makes it a lot colder across those areas. Let's see here. Raptor says we need... I don't know about that. I don't think anybody wants any damaging winds. That's not any good news. That's for sure. That's not good news. I'm trying to catch up with the chat here, guys. I know I'm answering questions and taking my time. Just trying to answer specific questions here. Daniel says, when the cold trough happens, will it lead to more precipitation in the Colorado River Basin? It's possible, but I think with those troughs moving in across the eastern 2/3 of the country as we get towards that second half of the month of January, it's probably going to be more dominant across the eastern 2/3 of the country here, with those troughs digging in more into the northeast here and portions of the Ohio Valley. There could be some precipitation on the front range of the Rockies. There's no mistake in that, with some heavy snow, maybe some rainfall here toward Denver, but we're not seeing the blockbuster snows into the Denver area, I don't think, with that setup, at least toward the end of this month. So, but certainly there could be some precipitation, that is for sure. Again, guys, just joining, press the like button down below. It's the thumbs up button. Let's get to 1,000 likes here, guys. Let's get to 1,000 likes on this live stream. I know we're only at 32 likes. Let's try and get this over 100 here. That's our first goal. And let's try to get to 1,000 likes on this live stream. Let's get more people in here to the live stream. Press that like button down below. Again, we'll be spreading more of this information out to more and more people. So press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and hit the notification bell as well, that bell icon, to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. I cover Canada, the United States, the tropics, and again, everything in between from coast to coast, from the Pacific to the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic and everything in between. So hit that like button, everybody. You guys should be pressing the like button as you come in so we can get more information out to more and more people. The more you press that like button, guys, we're going to get more information out to more people here on this channel. So the more people that will see this cold air and snowfall coming, and more snow lovers we get in the chat, those wonderful snow lovers out there. Again, I love snow myself, and I'm wanting some snow as well. So last year, February was the worst, Eric says. Well, oh, you're talking about the cold and snow? Yeah, February last year was very cold, very snowy, that's for sure. Rain Mave says 34 degrees next Sunday. That's not normal. No, it's above normal. That is correct. Yeah, above normal temperatures. And again, I'll go back to that. You can see the Climate Prediction Center is forecasting January 13th through the 19th timeframe. This is the Climate Prediction Center's forecast towards the third week here in January, and that is forecasting to be well above average, especially across that area there in the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, and the Midwest. Again, guys, keep pressing that like button. We're up to 45. Let's get it up to 100 or over 100, guys. Our goal is 1,000 here on the live stream. Let's keep going, guys. Definitely appreciate it. And again, that precipitation value, again, we're going to see more of that off to the west, but there could be some systems across the eastern two-thirds of the country, and probably more liquid precipitation, more rainfall than anything else. All righty. Answering more questions. Again, I'm just going down the live chat. Again, if you guys have any specific questions for me, I'll be able to answer those here in the live stream here today. I'll be here a while longer, so thank you guys so much for joining this afternoon. It's Friday afternoon, guys. It's getting into the weekend, so happy first weekend of, actually second weekend, rather, of 2023. Let's see here. UCI says, what's your outlook for Lake Mead? Lake Mead they're going to see some precipitation, but there's no way Lake Mead is going to be catching up anytime soon. I mean, you're talking double-digit feet below average with those lake waters there for Lake Mead. So it's going to take a long time for that lake water to be restored across those areas. So that we're not seeing that right now. And again, I'll put the satellite view on for you guys while I'm answering questions and make it a little more interesting for you guys so it's not so boring on here. I don't mean to be boring, but I'm just trying to answer some questions on here that you guys have about the long range forecast. Again, keep pressing that like button, guys. Definitely appreciate it. Subscribe down below if you're new and hit that notification bell. Again, I have a new video out this morning. Usually I publish my videos around 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time, so you guys can always check that out every single morning. Lots of good breakdowns on my weather forecast. You guys should check it out. Raptor says, gusts to around 60 miles per hour for Sacramento Valleys Monday. Possibly. I know there was some high wind warnings across California during that time. Let me look here. We'll look at you're saying Monday? We're going to look here at the low-level jet out here. Yeah, Monday. Yes, Monday there certainly could be some very strong winds here across portions of California. You can see some of this red showing up here. Actually, I'll go back to this here. I'm going to get off the satellite for a minute to show you this. Let's go to the southwestern United States here. And yes, there's going to be some strong winds out here next Monday. That is for sure. And let me go to the European guidance. Monday, there could be some strong winds moving across, especially central California. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some wind advisories or high wind warnings again. We have those sustained winds crashing into the west coast. We have that 992 millibar low, pretty formidable low pressure system just off the coast of western California there. And yeah, Sacramento, California, the Sacramento Valley could be seeing those 20, 30 mile per hour winds sustained going into Monday and Monday night. And those wind gusts could be probably higher than that. We could be mixing down. And again, this is a low-level jet, but some of this could be mixed down, especially with the heavy rain. Just think if you have a heavy downpour, a lot of that rainfall will be mixing down some of this strong wind to the surface or to near the surface here from just a couple thousand feet up. And you can see the purple's trying to move in here. That's around 60, 65 miles per hour. So yeah, I definitely think high wind warnings are a possibility. Probably at least some wind advisories going into that Monday time frame. That's for sure. Okay, let's see here. Saunders says, seems like nothing is normal anymore. Well, yeah, we're in a La Nina and we're seeing El Nino conditions. I don't know what to say about that. That's pretty interesting. Again, I'm glad you brought that up and about that. Nothing seems normal anymore. It's not. Climate change is a thing, and I know it's a big debate about climate change is whether global warming, and global warming doesn't mean that like everything is going to be 80 degrees all across the globe. Global warming is an effect that you see over years span of time. It's not an effect that you see overnight. Global warming is not an effect that you see from Monday into Tuesday, for example. It's It's an effect that you see from example 2018 to 2050. It's more of a span of decades and a century that you see global warming take effect, and it gets more noticeable with time. As you guys have noticed, back in 2019, if you guys can remember that cold outbreak we had in 2019 with those minus 50, those minus 60-degree wind chills up here into the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, there's still cold air with global warming. That is a fact. There's just more extreme cold air and more extreme heat as well. You guys know 2012 was a very hot summer. If you guys can remember that summer, we had a lot of heat, a lot of drought across the Midwest and the eastern two-thirds of the country in 2012. That is, again, possibly an effect of global warming. Again, there's a lot of research that goes into that, but yes, global warming is a thing. I do think so. I really do. Climate change is a thing as well. It's natural climate change that does happen as well. But yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. It's hard to grasp sometimes, but global warming is a thing. I can tell you that right now, and it's going to be here for the foreseeable future, whether you think about it or not. It's going to be here for quite some time. Again, just think about it. We're having the extremes already. You guys can see it out your door. Where is all the snow? You guys are asking me, where the snow is in the Ohio Valley and the Northeast. You are seeing it out your front door right now. Global warming at its finest. I mean, you guys are really seeing it. I mean, 10, 20 years ago, there was snow on the ground, as far as I'm concerned, across the Illinois Valley, the Ohio Valley, and Northeast. You guys would go outside and you see feet of snow on the ground. You just don't see that right now. And, some could say that it's probably the La Nina doing that. It's the El Nino impacts that we're seeing right now doing that. But really what it is just those effects that we are seeing in conjunction with global warming. It really is a true thing. So it's going to be over time. Things aren't going to change overnight. We could reverse it. It could reverse itself. But I do think, the earth is warming up and it's producing more interesting seasons. We have hotter summers. We have more interesting winters where we have cold outbreaks. They're very cold outbreaks. And then we have these big warm-ups. We have that January thaw that we're seeing right now. And then we go back to winter in February, like I was just mentioning earlier on in the live stream. And yeah, we're just going to continue to see that for the foreseeable future. So it's the new reality for much of us, not only in the United States, but across the globe. This is affecting people in Canada, Mexico. This is affecting people in towards Africa. This is affecting people everywhere. China, everywhere. It's affecting people all across the globe. Even up here in Alaska, it's affecting people over in Scotland, just everywhere across the earth. Global warming is affecting a lot of us. If you guys remember that in Europe, I think it was last summer or summer before, there was a record-breaking heat wave during that. I think it was June or July. If you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, they had a very big record-breaking heat wave out across Europe there, and to places like Spain and France and stuff like that. Yeah, that's because small effects of global warming. So definitely interesting. But that's enough about global warming for now, unless you guys have specific questions on that. But let's see here. Rain Mave says, I would love a very stormy season of even if we switch the patterns. Yeah, the pattern's going to it's going to switch. It's not going to stay like this forever. These patterns are very stubborn, especially when you have this pattern that we're seeing out west with these parade of storms. But they're going to end sometime, but not for the next couple of weeks. For the next couple of weeks, going through the last couple of days in January, it's going to be wet out west. There's no mistake in that, and it's going to be very, very warm across the eastern two-thirds of the country. So that's what we're seeing here. I'll show you the precipitation amounts that some of the models are putting out here across portions of California. Let me just see. Let me go to the NAM model. I think the NAM model covers this very well. Okay, so the 18Z NAM is just coming out. I'll use the 12Z for now. We're going to look here out west. Okay, so this shows all of California here. And yeah, going through, this goes all the way through the morning hour, actually Monday evening. This goes through Monday, January 9th here in just a few days. And this is your rainfall accumulation. There are going to be some spots seeing 6, 7, 8 inches of rain between now and Monday evening across northern portions of California. Getting down toward the Sacramento Valley here, we could be talking about 3 to 6 inches worth of rain getting into that time frame here between now and Monday, January 9th. Just a few days from now. So very interesting to say the very least here. Jill says, what does Florida look like first week of March? I can't tell you that. It's too far out. March, however, I am seeing a signal for colder weather in the eastern two-thirds of the country, but I'm not going to put out any forecasts on March right now. It's only January 6th. So, again, refer to the Climate Prediction Center forecast for that, but I don't think that you guys can check out their seasonal forecast on their page. But I don't like forecasting that far ahead of time. It's a grain of salt at this point, but I will be putting out my spring forecast, so stick around to my channel. I promise you toward the middle and end of January, I will be putting my early thoughts out on spring of 2023, and we'll be going over who could see severe weather, who's going to see a warm spring, who's going to see a cold spring, who could see some snowfall lingering into spring, and we'll go into the deep dive of that in my videos and stuff later on this month, and we'll look at spring here of March, April, and May of 2023. I promise you that, so stick around for that. Rain says, will March be warm and stormy again? Same thing for you. Just wait and see. Again, I can't speak on March right now. It's a couple months ahead of time. A lot can change between now and then. Just stick around toward the end of the month, and I will be putting that information out. Sandra, hit the like button. Support matters. Thank you so much, Sandra. Yes, hit that like button, everybody, if you're joining. We're up to 58 likes now, guys. Keep pressing that like button as you're joining here. It gets more of this weather information out to more and more people. It helps more than you know. So thank you guys so much for hitting that like button. Again, we're going to try and hit 1,000 likes in this live stream. We got a long way to go, guys, so press that like button. Valerie Smith, do you think Central Alabama will get any winter weather? Very good question, Valerie. Let's see here. If you're still in the stream, we're gonna look. What was your question? Do you think Central Alabama will get any winter weather? Yes, I actually do. If we go back here to the CFS, I'm going to show you this. Right, for the foreseeable future, no. The answer is no. You're going to see liquid precipitation, and there's possibility of yet another severe weather event potentially towards that second and third week here in January, toward that 15th through 20th time frame. I'd be looking out for maybe some more storms, maybe some lower end severe weather potential, like more of those marginal slight risk type of severe weather days across portions of the deep south here toward the Gulf Coast, places like Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. All that cold air is going to be farther to the north for the foreseeable future. But yes, for Alabama, as we get in toward the end of the month, there could be a little surge of colder air with that freezing line moving farther south toward the 23rd time frame. And then as we get toward the last few days of the month, you can see that very strong intrusion of that cold air moving south. And yes, Alabama could get very cold toward that time frame, and that could set up maybe an ice zone where we could see some freezing rain and sleet, maybe some snow farther south. So that snow line will be pushing farther south for sure as we get towards the late portion here of January. And I think February is going to be equally as cold, if not colder as well. We have that cold. We may have a warm up across the Gulf Coast for a time there, because after all, you're in the South, so it's not going to be cold all the time. But then we could have another surge there towards the first week or two of February, and it depends on how far south that goes will determine your precipitation types if we have any systems move through Alabama, and how much cold air will be available for that as well. But yes, I think if you're looking at any winter weather for Alabama, late January and especially early February there, around that 27th to that 31st time frame in January and early February, Valerie, for that. So great question. Matthew says, I'm trying to keep up with the chat here. Let's see. Trying to keep up with the chat. Matthew says, appreciate the feed. I'll be sky spotting here from McKern County, Southern California, high desert. Well, thank you so much for spotting some of that snow. Yeah, but if you guys want to relay some weather reports to me during my videos, to say it's partly cloudy out here, it's 84 degrees or anything like that, just for an example, you guys can do so. I always welcome with open arms weather reports. Thank you guys so much for, I know a lot of you have already been putting weather reports out there over the last several videos that I've had. I definitely appreciate all the weather reports out there telling me how much snow you guys have had, how much rain's been going on, and how cold it is and everything. Definitely always appreciate that. Praise that praise says, is this discussion oriented towards any section of the country? I live in the Carolinas. No, this is the entire United States and really just North America. I'm just talking about the long range forecast for really all of North America as well. So you live in the Carolinas? Yeah, same thing in Carolina, guys. The Carolinas are going to get cold as well. Really, much of the country is going to get cold toward the end of January, and especially getting into early February. There could be one major surge toward the end of the month, and then possibly another major surge into early week here, the first week or two of February. That again will pull down that cold air, we'll have precipitation in place, and we could be talking about some snow there as well. William Span, thank you for joining the live stream. Definitely appreciate it, and appreciate all your comments in my videos. Again, I've been reading all your comments in my videos. Definitely appreciate all the great comments out there every single morning. Weather on the Go does spend more time and focus on the weather extreme of the U.S., but when it comes to our time in Alabama, like you in South Carolina, he will give much attention to our states. Yes, I try to go where the weather is. I try to go where the weather is, and I did in my video this morning. I know a lot of you guys were wondering why I wasn't talking about the eastern 2/3 of the country. I do listen to you guys when I read my comments in the videos, and I did, show the weather pattern over the, next 7 to 10 days across the eastern 2/3 of the country. Not much going on, maybe a storm system or two, no blockbuster snows or anything like that, but we'll continue to keep an eye on it there. That's in my video here this morning. Guys, keep pressing that like button. We're up to 65. Come on, guys, press that like button out there. We got to get up to 100 likes. I'm just drinking some water, guys, so don't be scared. I have to drink water every once in a while. I've been talking for a while. I apologize. Damon Stewart says, during an El Nino, the AO, the NAO are positive, and during a La Nina, you have a negative NAO, EPO, and a negative EPO and a negative AO. Which what he's referring to is the AO is an Arctic oscillation, the NAO is the North American oscillation, and the EPO is the Eastern Pacific oscillation. Is basically what it's just the ocean patterns and how those jet stream looks during that time frame of when we're in a La Nina or El Nino. So if I can have a wetter than average spring and possibly even summer, that would be great. Well, it's looking like we're going back towards an ENSO neutral pattern here. And I'm going to pull up something for you guys real quick if I can. Let me go back here to see. Let me show you something real quick if I can find it. Okay, so this is what we're looking at here for the La Nina. So as you see, towards the middle of spring here, March, April, we're going to trend back to zero, which is ENSO neutral. We're going to get back to neutral conditions during that time frame, and then we're going to trend more in towards positive territory, which is at least a weak El Nino. A lot of these this is a consolidation of all the climate models out there, and yeah, we're seeing that towards the beginning of spring and really taking us into summer of 2023 as well. And once you move back into El Nino, it looks drier and hotter for spring and especially summer across the northern and northeastern United States. But again, I'll be putting my longer range weather forecasts out as we get closer. John Limke says, I was out in my yard. The snow is knee deep. Haven't seen snow like this in Minnesota in a long time. I just want it in April. I just don't want it in April. I don't know. It's hard to say. Again, there's a lot of time between now and then. But yeah, a lot of snow up into the upper Midwest for sure. A lot of snowpack up there. That's why it's colder. Like I was showing you guys, teens and 20s for highs across those areas over the next several days. Sandra, thank you for helping out here. Sandra says, press the like button, people. Press the like button, people. Yeah, press that like button, guys. Come on. We got 69 likes, and I know you guys all haven't pressed the like button on the live stream, guys. Help a brother out. Come on, hit the like button, the thumbs up button down below as you're joining. You guys should be doing that every time you join, guys, so we can get more people into the live stream. We only got 77 people watching. We need over 1,000, guys. Come on, press that like button. Again, I do this for you guys, so I figured I would do a live stream here today to answer some questions. William Span, will you be doing live streams on a regular schedule or primarily when there are severe inbound systems like in California at the moment? I'm gearing up to do more live streams regularly, probably once or twice per week. That probably won't occur until after all this active weather goes by, because I'm doing a lot of data searching. I'm searching a lot of data out west on these systems of how much rain we could see, all the wind and all that, and putting my videos together takes a lot of time for these events. So I think toward the end of the month and eventually into February, I'll be doing more regular live streams per week on this channel. William says, I'm in the habit now of hitting the like button even before he reminds us. Well, there you go. See, just hit the like button. And again, it helps more and more people join the live stream. The more you guys press the like button, the more fun it'll be. We have more people joining the live stream. We have more questions out there, and again, we can get different people's perspectives on what they ask about the weather. It's very interesting. I like seeing that in the chat. So. John Lemke says, pretty excited to hear your spring forecast. Yeah, it'll be coming out here towards the end of this month. I think I'll be putting my early thoughts out. My official spring forecast obviously won't come out until March 1st. I'll be putting that out March 1st, my official spring forecast. That coincides with spring, the meteorological spring at that point. That's what they consider meteorological spring. Right now, we're in meteorological winter. So even though spring doesn't start officially until March 21st, meteorological spring starts on March 1st and goes all the way through May 30th, I do believe. Or is it 31 days in May? I don't even know. I'm not even know. Yeah, May 31st. So, all right. Let's see. Yeah, thank you so much, Saunders. Thank you for the donation. Definitely appreciate it. Again, Saunders donated some money to the channel. If you guys want to donate, Super Stickers is down there as well. Saunders says, thank you for all you do. I have to go. Well, thank you for joining, Saunders. Thanks for the donation. Much, much appreciated. That $2 goes a long way in supporting the channel. So, again, I deeply, deeply appreciate it. And thanks for joining this afternoon. Saunders, thank you so much. Again, I'll be doing these live streams more often, Saunders. So again, come back when I do another live stream. And again, my videos will be out in the morning. William says, it's good to take time to read and respond to meaningful comments or questions on the live streams. It keeps viewers engaged and coming back. Well, there you go. Yeah, I like people asking questions, and I like answering questions because I feel like you guys are more important to me than just blabbering on and on and on about the weather. I mean, if I just talk about the weather and don't answer your questions, then you guys are going to be like, what is this guy doing? He's not answering my questions. And yeah, I'll be answering your questions here on the live stream. That is for sure. I'm trying to get to everybody's questions here. What about the Rio Grande Valley, South Texas? It's not going to be much. We're not seeing much across Texas here. I'll actually zoom in toward the southern United States to show you because I haven't done that yet. The Rio Grande Valley here in Texas is down south here. Just a moment. Okay. This is the 12Z GFS that just came out, and you can see this is going through this weekend, very dry. Maybe some precipitation down here toward coastal Texas around Houston, coastal Louisiana, Lake Charles area, maybe going in towards Monday night. Not a lot of heavy rain, though, with that. Other than that, most of next week's going to be very dry. There could be a cold front moving through according to the GFS model with some rain to the north in the Missouri Valley, and then that cold front moving through. Temperatures will be crashing back from the 70s and 60s in the Rio Grande Valley back into the 50s and low 60s by the time we get in towards the middle and end of next week and going into next weekend. But no major systems here, and I'll actually show you the total precipitation going through the end of the model run here. And yeah, not much toward the Rio Grande Valley here in Texas. Maybe a half an inch of rain over the next, 10 to 15 days here in January. So not much. Keep pressing that like button, guys. If you guys are new to the channel and have not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell. It's that bell icon to get all of my daily weather forecast updates. I post every morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. Yeah, you guys haven't had rain in forever, and it doesn't look like you're going to see much. If you see any rain in the Rio Grande Valley, I'd be surprised, but it looks like under a half an inch at most, all the way through January 22nd. That's that third week in January. You do not give any credit to the Ring or of Fire ocean volcano. Well, volcanoes are very important. I know that volcano that erupted. I think it was a underwater volcano over there towards Australia, if I remember correctly. That actually caused our weather patterns to change. Actually, it made more of a wild card La Nina year this year, and that could be why we're seeing all that rain in California. Is because that volcano erupted earlier on this year, changing our weather pattern from, we're in a moderate La Nina, but changing it to look like an El Nino right now. So that's possible. I'm not saying that's why, but it's possible. Yeah, look at all those systems, guys. Look here into California. I'll push across the western United States here. Just a moment. All right, so I'm going to zoom in here. Look at California, guys, on the GFS run. Again, the farther out you go, the more uncertain it gets. But here you go. You got one system, two systems, three, four, five, six. There's at least 5 or 6 systems over the next 2 weeks hitting the West Coast. Lots and lots and lots of rain and snow out west. There's no mistake in that. Be safe out there. Yeah, snow is in California. Yep, the Sierra Nevadas are getting lots of snow. There was actually, let me look here. Let me go down here toward the Sierra Nevadas because I do think that they are going to get absolutely crushed by some heavy snow over the next couple of weeks here. And I don't like to say the word crushed a lot because it's kind of a misleading term, but if you once you see these snowfall totals, you're going to change your mind. Let me look at this here. Look at these snowfall totals, guys. It goes as high up on the chart as you can possibly go. I mean, this is over 100 inches of snow accumulating in the Sierra Nevada mountains here in California. And that's just going through January 22nd. And there's probably going to be more snow after this point. So lots of very heavy snow across these areas going in towards that time frame. Um, William says, in our neck of the woods, in our solar system, the effects of the grand solar minimum are the eddy minimum is the prime driver of weather on Earth. Huh. Again, thank you to David. Thank you to Valerie. Thank you to John and William and Susie, all you guys, Kevin, all you guys for joining the live stream. Definitely much appreciated. Trying to keep up with the chat. I'm going slow down the chat today, just trying to answer your questions with much detail as I can, so you guys can get your answer that you want. Let's see here. John says, we just got done with a good snowstorm. Any other big storms like that for Minnesota anytime soon? Yeah, like I said, late January in towards early February would be the prime time for big snow back up here into the Midwest. And you can see that. Look at this, guys, going all the way. This is the end of the model run, and we're not seeing much snow in the upper Midwest going through the 22nd of January. So it's going to be interesting. Valerie Smith says, thank you. I would love to see some snow. Tired of the naders around here. The tornadoes, yeah, it's maybe some snow late in January, early February. It's going to be a cold February. I do know that. There's been a lot of consistency in the models for that, at least the climate models, which are do a fairly decent job since we're only a month out from February. So I do think it's going to be a cold, very active February, and we're going to get back to winter. So again, if you guys are snow lovers out there, if you love the cold, think again. We're going to start to see more of that cold air and snow moving farther south eventually in time as we get through the month of February. No mistake in that. Again, thank you for the question, Valerie. Definitely a great question, and I definitely appreciate you asking. David says, here in the Central Valley, it's partly to mostly cloudy, high of near 60. Well, thank you so much for the weather report there. I'm guessing you're talking about California, the Central Valley there. Susie says, this weather has been triggering my allergies. I just want snow. Yes, I know allergies are a big problem, especially as we get into with the pollen in the spring and summer months. And yeah, it looks like we're going to see the cold weather return. So hopefully your allergies do improve in a big way going into the next couple of weeks with that cold air and that snow starting to move farther south. Hopefully those allergies start to alleviate for you. David says we are between storms at the moment here in California. Okay, yes, yeah. There's a little lull in the action in California today, and I'll show you that here. Let's use the NAM model. Let's go out west here. Let's go out west here. This is the precipitation type, and you can see yes, there's a little lull in the action. There is some rain, I think, in the far northwestern California here today, especially getting into tonight. But going through the day tomorrow, that's when we see the heavy rain and snow start up, and it won't stop. It gets very heavy. The peak of this system goes into Sunday and Monday here, and even Tuesday, with very heavy, crushing snowfall amounts here into the Sierra Nevadas. And again, I don't like to use that term very often, but when you guys are seeing 100 inches of snow in just a few days, that is a lot of snow, and we're probably going to be seeing 2 to 3 inches of snow or more per hour in parts of the Sierras here as we get through the day on Sunday and into Monday. Very heavy rain across the Sacramento Valley here, getting back into portions of San Francisco and eventually farther south, maybe toward Los Angeles, getting in on the rain, especially as we get in towards Sunday night. And then Monday, another system comes in, and this system early next week looks like a huge system. This system is going to be producing more heavy mountain snow, more flooding rain, maybe some mudslides and landslides out here into California going into that time frame into early next week. Very saturated soils, and especially if we have those really strong gusty winds. I know somebody was mentioning we could have winds around 50 to 60 miles per hour with the storm. Definitely a possibility because you guys can see that low-level jet moving in, and you can see that low-level jet moving in right over Central California in conjunction with this rain. If we get heavy enough rain showers, that could start to pull down some of that momentum from some of the lower-level winds toward the surface, and we could see those winds around 60 miles per hour with the gusts mixing down to near the surface there in Central California. Moon Eyes Stargazer. That's a great name. Nothing but rain in northeast New Jersey. So far, a wet, mild winter. Hopefully, some snow soon. Yes, if you're just joining, it looks like the end of February here and getting in towards, or actually the end of January here, getting into early February for that snow, especially across that I-95 corridor. I'm not too sold on the I-95 corridor getting those, those classic historic snows this season, but I still do think you'll see some pretty heavy snow at least sometime here, late January going through sometime into February. So I'm pretty confident in that, but I'm not, sold on the 2 to 3 foot snowstorms all in one storm or anything like that across the I-95 corridor this season. The pattern just doesn't look that favorable for that. A lot more of the snow is going to be more inland New England rather than Cape Cod and Long Island and New Jersey, really, this year. That's the trend. William says, weather on the go. What does he say? William says, weather on the go. You will blow through the 25,000 mark in no time. Thanks for all your efforts, as live stream is definitely a very taxing service on your part, but much appreciated. It's not too bad. It's just I like answering questions, so thank you guys for joining. And yeah, I hope to get to 25,000 subscribers hopefully soon. That's my goal by springtime. So by March or April, that's what I hope to do, is get to 25,000 subscribers. So again, subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button, guys. We're only 83 likes, guys. I know each and every one of you guys on this live stream have not pressed the like button. If you guys haven't pressed the like button, press it down below. Let's get over 100 likes here on the live stream. I know everybody hasn't pressed the like button yet. David says, we need the rain, but not this much in so little time. Yes, there's a lot of rain, and most of the rain that they're seeing in northern and central California will be coming over a short amount of time. Let's show you that again using the NAM model here. We really zoomed in towards California, and you can see We'll put it in a 24-hour loop here. You can see the first system we're going to see maybe 1 to 3 inches, an isolated 4 inch amount, now out of the realm of possibility. That's going into the day on Sunday here this weekend. That system moves out, and then we have a little lull Sunday night and Monday morning. Then Monday afternoon into Tuesday, again, another probably more significant rain system and snow system moves in, and another 1 to 3 or more inches of rain likely in that same area again into California. So definitely lots and lots and lots of rainfall here and some flooding, mudslides, landslides, stuff like that. So do be on the lookout for that moving forward. Matthew says, do you have a photo page or address to send photos or video? I don't have the Instagram, Facebook. If you guys want to send me anything, I have a Twitter page down in the description below. You guys, my Twitter handle's down there. You guys can send me videos and pictures of the weather on that. If you guys do have if you guys want to email me any pictures, my email is in. If you go to my YouTube channel and you go to the About page and you scroll down to see where it says Business Inquiries, click that, and that's what my email is. And you guys can send me your pictures and videos off of that email on the About page on my YouTube channel. So you guys can do that as well if you don't have Twitter. Otherwise, the Twitter handle is down below in the description underneath the live stream here. Thank you. Just a little would be good. Yes, for sure. I think there's going to be at least some snow into New Jersey. Will it be a blockbuster snow? It's possible, but I'm not too bought on that quite yet. You can't predict snow amounts out this far out, so. Radio says, heyo. Well, hello for joining. Thank you for joining this afternoon. William says, yeah, from what I see now, Central and Northern California is going to get lots of rain and snow. I feel and pray for those people. I have a friend in Sacramento. Yes, lots of heavy rain in Sacramento. Again, you can see that through the end of the model run here. I know you guys probably can't see it as much, but these yellows, reds, orange, and pinks across portions. Yeah, these yellows, reds, oranges, and pinks across north central California is at least over an inch of rain and probably over a half foot of rain in the next several days. So that's going to be causing a lot of flooding concerns across those areas. Nobody's complaining about California. I'm actually happy that California is seeing a lot of the rain. We just don't need it all at once, though, is the issue, because you still have a drought out there. And you imagine if you have dry ground, it's not going to always. A dry ground is actually going to make the water run off, especially if you have a really heavy downpour for a certain amount of time. So it's going to make all of that water run off more. Yeah, nobody's complaining about that. I'm not complaining about it, at least. They need the rain out west. I'm happy they're getting their rainfall because they've been in such a bad drought over the last several weeks, months, years out in California. They definitely could use it desperately. I'm happy that they're getting it. Will Nevada see flash flooding? There could be, but I think the flash flooding will be more confined to California. I don't think Nevada is going to see too much in the way of flash flooding. There could be some heavy rain from time to time. Nevada is going to be more notorious for those higher elevation snows into the northern side of the state. California is going to be more notorious for both heavy snow in the Sierras and also some extremely heavy rainfall rates over the next couple of days here, going into early next week across Sacramento here. And you can see that system coming in here with that visible satellite imagery. And look at the eastern two-thirds of the United States, guys. Very parched. We're not seeing much in the way of moisture. A lot of cloud cover, but not a lot of rain or snow. And you guys can see, if you guys can check, this is the satellite imagery. And if you guys look very closely, see where the clouds are moving here, those upper levels. You can see where they're like colored. See the white down near the surface that's not moving? That's the snowpack. You have the snowpack here into western New York, especially around the Buffalo area, into western Pennsylvania, all the way up here into the Dakotas and Minnesota. That's snow in those white shaded colors on the visible satellite imagery here. That's not cloud cover. That's snow. So we do still have some snow on the ground up to the north. Mainly areas near Las Vegas. Las Vegas could see some flooding because, again, you're in a desert there, but I don't think there's going to be nothing like you're seeing in California. I promise you that. Let's see. David says, going to head out. Thank you for what you do. I'll be checking back in the morning. All right. Well, thank you for joining, David. Again, I'll have another video for you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time. So thank you for joining. The third rail says California is getting hit hard again. My brother, who lives just east of San Francisco, also had a bit of info. Talking about a bit of rain? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, there's been a lot of rain out there, that's for sure. Here, just a moment, guys. I gotta get a drink of water. I've been talking this whole time. I need a drink of water real quick. Just a moment. All right. I'm back. Yeah, thanks for joining, David. Definitely appreciate it. Come back as soon as possible. Again, I'll have another video tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time. New Jersey has so much rain. We're no longer in a drought. Hope for the same out west. Yes, definitely. The drought has improved. There was actually an exceptional drought that was in California with the last drought monitor. They come out with a drought monitor every Thursday, and the new drought monitor, they dropped the exceptional drought back to extreme. So, of course, it's still an extreme drought, but at least the worst drought category, which is an exceptional drought, is not there anymore. So that's some good news. That's some good news. You guys can always check out the drought monitor. It's on the Climate Prediction Center site. You guys can always check that out. Come on, guys. We need 9 more likes to get 100 likes out here on the live stream. We need 9 more people to hit that like button. 9 more people. We're at 91 likes, guys. I know there's 9 people that haven't liked it yet. Hit that like button. Let's try and get at least over 100 likes here so far. The ultimate goal was 1,000, but let's see if we can get over 100. Press that like button. Again, we're going up to 96. We need 4 more people, guys. Let's see here. Third rail says, I came in late, so I have no idea what the long range looks like for Iowa. I know it may not be accurate. Okay, so I'll go over it once again here real quick for you since you came in late. It looks like through the middle of the month here, it looks pretty cold across the west here, especially into the Pacific Northwest. That's where all the heavy snow will be. And then as we get in towards the second half of the year, it's going to still be mild across Iowa here, but we're going to start to see more of these cold Arctic intrusions of air starting the third week in January and getting more extreme toward that, the last week in January. And by the time we open up February, we could have this big surge of below zero high temperatures falling farther south, potentially into Iowa here as well. That'll be something to watch. And again, we could be seeing more snow as well. During that time frame with the cold air, and you have that active jet stream, the subtropical jet, that polar jet moving south, phasing together, as we call it. If they phase together, you usually see more stronger systems, deeper systems with more moisture being fetched out of the Gulf of Mexico. Yes, then we'll probably see more, severe weather across the southeast, an ice storm in between, like I said, probably across the Arklatex and the Ohio Valley somewhere, and then heavy snow somewhere in the Missouri Valley, the Midwest, or the Great Lakes. Probably some lake effect snow as well, getting in towards that time frame. One more like, guys. We're at 99 likes. One more like to get to 100. Last monsoon season, we had a tornado warning here in northeastern Clark County and areas of Littlefield, Arizona. Huh. Interesting. That was during monsoon season, huh? Third rail says, oh yeah, I did not finish there with my comment. He went for a drive and found a lot of trees down. Oh, okay. Got you. Okay. Does anyone see the areas near Arizona as getting rain all from the ocean? Yeah, the moisture always comes from the ocean, guys. If you guys don't know that, yes, all the moisture that you see with the rain that falls outside, it comes mainly from the Pacific or the Gulf of Mexico. Very rarely does it come from the Atlantic because storms usually don't move in from the east unless you have a hurricane or something like that. But yes, most of these storms are from the Gulf of Mexico. are from the Gulf of Mexico with the moisture anyway. Susie says share the stream too. Well, thank you so much, Susie. If you shared the stream, definitely appreciate it. Yeah, it's like lake effect snow. Right, right. Thank you for liking the stream, radios. Thank you. Third rail, I may need to move my appointments if we have a blizzard again. Well, I can't say there's going to be a blizzard. I'm just saying there's going to be more heavy snow toward late January into early February. That's all I know. So we'll be watching it for you guys. I promise you guys that we'll be taking a good look at. We're going to be taking a good look at the weather. The spring weather time for the spring forecast in my late January videos. We're going to be diving into that, what we could be seeing during that time frame there. So. Let's see here, guys. I'm just going through looking at some data here. There's some new data coming in from the other day. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, springtime. Springtime, I'll be putting that video out. You guys can count on that. All right. William says moisture comes from the oceans, but the energy that drives these systems come from solar activity. Somewhat. Sometimes the energy comes from the differences in temperature too, though. You usually have a stronger mid-level jet or upper-level jet streak if you have a temperature battle zone, like I like to call it, going on. You have more of these, for example, you see the stronger jet stream here in the Tennessee Valley. If I flip it over the temperature, that's because of the temperature battle zone going on. Usually the jet stream sets up between the warm and cold air where it displaces itself, and that's where you see those low pressure systems develop. William says 105 likes. Yes, 105 likes. It says 103 on my end. Is it 105 now? Any thoughts on how bad the severe weather season may be like for, you're talking about spring? Are you talking about spring, third rail? Thanks for your weather reports, so reliable. You're welcome, Stargazer. You're very welcome. Thanks for joining the live stream, and if you watch my videos, thank you so much. If you guys want to donate any money to the channel, you guys do not have to, but I do want to let you guys know that I do have super stickers now and super chats and stuff like that, so you guys can donate to the channel if you would like. That is down below, so if you guys would like to do so, you can. You don't have to, of course. But again, like earlier, Saunders donated $2 to the channel, so thank you to Saunders. I just wanted to let you know that that is down there in case you guys wanted to donate to the channel. Again, you guys do not have to. Enjoying a lull in the weather here in North Carolina. Hope nearby trees stand strong the next wave of rain. Hopefully, there's going to be a lot of I'm going to switch this back over to the satellite view so it's not so boring, so you guys have something to look at that's actually moving, right? So, are you guys taking your likes away from me now? I had 103 likes, now it's back to 102. Interesting. Oh, spring and summer? Well, going to the spring months could be pretty active because we're probably going to be heading towards a weak La Nina and maybe probably an ENSO neutral type of weather pattern there. Neutral conditions can bring pretty decent severe weather, especially coming out of a 3-year La Nina. So that'll be something to watch in springtime. A little too far ahead of time to know whether or not, where the severe weather could set up or anything like that. But yeah, guys, I'm not going to really be showing you too much more on this live stream. I showed you what I needed to show. If you guys have a specific question, then I could navigate to where what I'm going to show you. But I'm just going to keep it on this satellite imagery and kind of keep it in play. And I'm just going to kind of be doing more of a talk show, kind of answering questions on here and stuff like that. The rest of this live stream. So if you guys enjoy that, I'll be doing that. Kind of more of a podcast type style here. William says still shows 105. Okay, maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe my computer's going crazy or something. Could be why. Third rail, this is what I was thinking too. Quite active this spring with maybe a derecho. Well, here's the thing about the derecho. You're not going to know. Derechos in severe weather in general, you won't know out. And sometimes, 7 weeks ahead of time, or which is probably what spring is from now, probably about 7, 8 weeks ahead of time. But it's 7 days, let alone 7 days ahead of time. Sometimes even derecho events are hard to predict, and it does look like we're going to be heading towards like I said, the neutral conditions, and then eventually toward a weak El Nino into summer of 2023. And if history stands true, then it looks like the El Nino, if it does occur, could lead to, if you guys remember back to 2012, we're, I think, going back to ENSO neutral or a weak El Nino during that time frame, and it caused a significant, what they call, I think, a North American derecho that occurred from Iowa, northern and central Illinois, and moved all the way to the Mid-Atlantic through the Ohio Valley into the East Coast, affecting places like Washington, D.C., the Ohio Valley, like I said, Chicagoland, getting back toward Des Moines. Yeah, it was a very destructive derecho, and I know there's hurricane force winds with that. There was a lot of tornadoes with that. I think there was a couple tornadoes that were at least like EF2 strength, maybe even stronger than that. But yeah, that was during, I believe, an El Nino year. So yeah, you can still see severe weather and derechos during an El Nino year. But other than that, we'll continue to watch it. Susie says, thanks for the update, Weather on the Go. Have a good weekend, everyone. Got to go. Well, thank you so much for joining, Susie. Again, we'll have another video for you in the morning, so definitely stay tuned to that. And thank you for joining. Have a great weekend yourself. Thank you so much for joining. William says, like the idea of weather trivia night. I'll even set my alarm for that one. Yes, if you guys aren't aware, I'm going to be probably doing a weather trivia night coming up one of these nights, one of these weekend nights. Maybe next weekend we'll do it. If we do, I'll put in my community tab on my YouTube channel, if we'll be doing it or not. I'll be letting you know probably during the middle of the week to give you heads up, like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, at the latest Thursday, telling you, hey, this upcoming week we're going to be doing weather trivia, just answering questions and stuff like that. Lots of fun. You guys put the questions in the live chat, or actually I put the question out, you guys put the answer in the live chat, and we have lots of fun with that. It'll be ranging from easy questions about the weather to medium type intermediate type of questions, and then we're going to be going towards really tough questions that you guys have to answer to in the trivia. So it'll be kind of cool. Max says, I remember that derecho. Yeah, June, you're correct. June of 2012. Yes, that was an El Nino year, I do believe. I'll have to go back and look. I believe 2013 was when we went back to a La Nina, and 2012 was an El Nino, and that actually there was actually a pretty substantial drought in the north central United States, in the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Ohio Valley during that period of time as well, which was very interesting. Um, I know when I looked outside during 2012 in the summer, I think it was June or July during that same time frame. I remember that derecho too because I live in northern Illinois, and yeah, there's a lot of there was a lot of trees down with that system around here. It got stronger as it moved into the Ohio Valley, but that drought, man, that was a very strong drought. There was I looked outside and there was brown grass, and if you could even see grass, it was so dry to where you could see the dirt, and the grass was like non-existent in some spots. It was a very bad drought. Hopefully we don't repeat that this summer, but yeah, that was a bad drought for sure. We were hit on the north end of that derecho. Oh, so the book end of the derecho. That's what they call the book end of the derecho. Usually you get many. So sometimes when you get really strong derechos, you have what they call a book end of the derecho, or mini low pressure systems. The derecho likes to make its own low pressure system itself, pretty much. That's what it's called. Derecho is a type of mesoscale convective system, and that's pretty much, there's different types of mesoscale convective systems. You got a squall line, that's one. You got two different types of derechos. You got a serial derecho and a progressive derecho. And progressive derechos are usually the ones that produce the most intense weather, the strongest winds, and they move the fastest as well. The serial derechos don't move as fast, and serial derechos usually move from south to north or north to south. Progressive derechos usually move, they can move in any direction, but they usually move from west to east or northwest to southeast is usually the direction that those progressive derechos do take. And those produce the most significant weather events. If you guys remember back to August 2020 in Iowa, they had a very big derecho. I think it was 140, correct me if I'm wrong, 140 mile per hour straight line winds without a tornado with that derecho, widespread. And it lasted a long period of time. Talk about putting stress on the trees. There was a lot of wind with that for 20, 30 minutes of a time of winds over 60, 70 miles an hour and even over 100 miles an hour with gusts with that system. So it was pretty strong. Yeah, Max says that drought of 2012 was something else. Yeah, very, very. The corn was in jeopardy there that year. There was a lot of the corn crop was not very good. I know that in the Midwest. So yes, it was a bad derecho, that's for sure. Again, if you're just joining, we're doing more of a kind of a podcast type thing. I just have the satellite view up. I showed you guys earlier on in the live stream. If you guys want to scroll back and see what I was talking about, you guys can do so. I'm just kind of doing more of a podcast type thing, just answering your questions and talking about weather on here. Just having a fun Friday afternoon. So again, thanks for joining. Rain says, "I hope not. I definitely want a stormy season. So if you can deliver that to me, then I will be happy." Well, I'm just the messenger. I can't make up the weather. So, but I hope you get some snow. If you want some snow in the Northeast, the Ohio Valley, or the Midwest, even where I live here in Illinois, I think that hopefully we can see some more snow. We haven't had much this winter, so haven't used my snowblower yet. I'm getting very anxious to use my snowblower. Haven't used it yet this winter. It's probably collecting dust in the garage right now, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. I think the cold air and snow will be. I have fairly high confidence that it'll be back. Like I said, the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Mid Atlantic. I know places in the Mid Atlantic haven't seen much snow. The I-95 corridor from Boston to New Jersey and New York City there haven't seen much snow. That'll be coming back, I think, in February especially, but starting late January there. And it's the cold air. The cold air is going to be very significant again, and it's going to last a longer period of time as well. Again, keep pressing that like button, guys. Let's try to get to closer to 1,000 likes. I know we're a long ways away, but hey, every little bit helps. So press that like button. Oh, you had over 100 mile per hour winds. Third rail, really? Wow. Yeah, it looks like it was central and eastern Iowa. Western Iowa didn't really get much from that. But central and eastern Iowa, it was, I think, the Cedar Rapids, Iowa area, Iowa City, where the University of Iowa, the Hawkeyes are, that area, and then towards the Davenport Quad Cities and Dubuque, Iowa, they got crushed by some really strong winds. There's a swath there of 120 to 140 mile per hour winds during that August 2020 derecho there. So that was pretty interesting. Hey, good question. Stargazer says, do derechos happen in the Midwest and the in North America only? Usually, yes, because you get in the Midwest. Actually, if you guys, there's been research done on derechos during the summer in the Midwest, and the ground zero for that is actually over eastern Iowa, north central Illinois, and through the Ohio Valley, and also southern Wisconsin and Michigan as well. And the reason for that is because you get all that Gulf of Mexico moisture streaming all the way up into the Midwest. You got that corn crop. If you guys can imagine this, there's not a lot of corn in the southeastern United States, right? So if you get down to Tennessee, sure, there's some corn and some beans down there, but that's not the agricultural land down there into Tennessee and Alabama and stuff like that. That's not where the corn is. The corn is more abundant in Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, and places like the Central Plains where it's flatter and a lot easier to grow corn and beans. And it's what you call evapotranspiration here. And I know it's a big word to grasp, but just think of it. Evapotranspiration. Evapo means you're going to evaporate all that moisture into the surrounding environment. And then transpiration is the corn crop is sweating. So you have all of that water from the corn crop itself with all the soil moisture, and it's sweating out all the moisture to grow. So that's evapotranspiration, and that leads to higher dew points. So sometimes in the summer months we look at dew points more, and sometimes you see dew points up over 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That is uncomfortable when you go outside. It's air you can wear. And then over 80-degree dew points, sometimes. I know the highest dew point I've ever experienced was 85-degree dew point one time, a couple summers ago, and that was pretty extreme. And again, because I live in an area here in Illinois with more corn crop, so there's a lot of corn crops maturing in the summer. Usually from the middle of July through early August is the most humid and the hottest time in the Midwest for summer, usually. So with that corn crop around and those beans evapotranspirating all of that moisture into the environment surrounding it, so that increases the dew points and therefore increases the CAPE values, convective available potential energy, as we call it, and that leads to more derecho potential, especially when you have more of a significant system moving in. So that's why you see more derechos in the Midwest and the Ohio Valley, is because you have all those high dew points and very warm temperatures, and that warm, moist air is what drives the derecho. Because you got to think, the derecho is not just one thunderstorm. It could develop off of one thunderstorm, but several microbursts and downbursts and stuff like that develop along the leading edge of the derecho, and they kind of conglomerate together and make a big solid line, or what they call a bow echo, and it moves through. So it's pretty interesting setup there. But yes, a derecho can develop off of just one thunderstorm. That has happened many times before. You have just one thunderstorm, and I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look at the setup for that in August of 2020 in Iowa. The derecho in Iowa was, I think, off of one or two thunderstorms in the early morning hours, moving out of eastern Nebraska and then exploded in Iowa. It started in the morning hours, 9, 10 a.m., and boom, you had 80-mile-an-hour winds moving through Iowa and into northern central Illinois and all the way through the Ohio Valley. And yeah, it was crazy. There's 140-mile-per-hour winds at the peak of that event in eastern Iowa. Places like I said, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, the Davenport, Iowa, Quad Cities area, and then Dubuque, Iowa as well. And then closer towards Chicagoland saw those widespread 60, 70-mile-per-hour winds during that derecho there in 2020 in August, a few years ago, almost 3 years ago now. So let's see. William says, I am totally blown away by your knowledge of U.S. geography. Impressive for your age. Yeah, well, I look at a lot of different maps every day, so I kind of look and see where all the different cities are and states and stuff, and yeah, I kind of just remember. I have a good memory on that. Yes, Eric, you are correct. Eric says this is the place to come when you are looking for planting dates for this April. Are you talking about the corn crop? Or are you talking about, like when I was talking about the corn crop and the beans across the agricultural belt in the Midwest, the Ohio Valley? Talking about corn, we have that all over our tiny town here. Corn and beans fields in town, so we know all about the higher dew points here. Yeah, it's evapotranspiration. That's what leads to those really, really high dew points, those 70, 80-degree dew points. The highest I've ever seen personally is 86 degrees, but I felt 85-degree dew point. And I'll tell you this, it does not feel very pleasant. It is very humid. It's almost so hard to breathe outside because it's so humid. That's just the type of air. It's the air you can wear. You immediately you go outside and you're just sweating. That's how humid it is outside. Everything is damp. There was a time I walked outside with a dew point when it was 85-degree dew point, but a couple of summers ago. I think that was during the summer of 2020 when we had that derecho. And I walked outside and I looked on the sidewalk and it was just wet. It didn't rain. It didn't do anything. It was just wet because it was so humid. The sidewalk was wet, like damp. It was so weird. Um, it just shows how moisture can work in weird ways sometimes. I did hear the Pacific Ocean was heating up much before the superstorm. Uh, what are you talking about with like a parade of low pressure systems, or because there's several of them? There's a parade of low pressure systems coming into the West Coast. of the United States. Again, you guys just joining, I'm doing a podcast type style here. I'm not really looking at anything right now. We already did our long range forecast. I'll be diving into my spring forecast a little bit later on this month in my videos. I put out one video usually per day, sometimes two, but mainly one every single day at 9 a.m. Central Time. You guys can check that out. So subscribe down below if you're new. Hit the notification bell to get all my daily forecast updates. And again, doesn't hurt, guys. Press that like button here on the live stream. It gets more people into the live stream asking questions and having fun with us this Friday afternoon, commenting down below. We're up to 117 likes. Thank you, guys. The ultimate goal is 1,000. We're still away, but again, everybody press the like button. Press it, press it, press it. Appreciate it. Stargazer says, I've seen videos of derechos look similar to hurricanes. Yeah, they're pretty much like land hurricanes, pretty much. Especially if we're talking about the August 2021. I mean, that one compared very well to a hurricane. I mean, you're talking 140 mile per hour winds. That's like a category 2 hurricane. That's the category 2, 3 hurricane almost. That's pretty impressive. So straight line winds can be as just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, because it's widespread. You got to think tornadoes are dangerous in itself, but when you have widespread hundreds of miles of just a squall line or a bow echo, derecho, whatever you want to call it, moving through, it takes up more real estate and more people are affected by it, which makes the impact factor a lot higher than what a tornado would be, because tornadoes are more isolated. So that's what I think about it. Derecho sounds good, like a good name for a taco truck. Maybe. I think Mother Nature knows I'm due for a derecho, but we shall see this. There's going to be a derecho. There's a derecho at least one or two every single year. Where they go, where they end up is sometimes not even known until it happens, to be quite honest with you. If you don't get what, a hurricane or derecho rain? If I don't get one this summer, spring or summer, then I will mark my calendar for the 4th year in a row. Are you talking about if you don't get a derecho or a hurricane? Actually, the hills of South Dakota also helps make storms too. Those can stay quite strong from the Dakotas. Well, the Dakotas are just wide open as it is. I mean, that's the northern plains. I mean, it says it in the name, the plains. I mean, it's flat up there. There are the hills. I know the Black Hills. I think isn't it called the Black Hills up into the Dakotas there? Yeah, those they can usually some hills can in the valleys there can accelerate some of the wind speeds, but not like the Appalachians or the Smoky Mountains or anything crazy like that. But I know those hills can do some accelerating of the wind speeds for sure sometimes. Oh, you're originally from North Dakota. Well, there you go. How about that? Max says, "Oh yeah, here in Indiana we get humid, but I love it." Well, yeah, there you go. If you love humidity, come to the Midwest because you get the evapotranspiration from all the corn crops and the bean crops. You know, live in Iowa or Illinois for a couple years and let me know how the summers are. I know it's a different summer from like Arizona. Like if you go to Arizona or New Mexico during the summer months, it's a dry heat. It's dry weather. There's like no moisture in the environment. And then you go up to Illinois or Wisconsin or Iowa and you're just sweating when you go outside and just with not even doing any exercise because it's so humid out there. Like I said, the highest dew point I've ever experienced was 85 degrees, and it was quite interesting. What's in store for the Eastern Missouri Ozarks? You got to be more specific. Are you talking about like the whole year, or are you talking about like next week, or what? Like Thomas, let me know what you're talking about. That's pretty vague. Specify, specify. Yeah, because of the corn crops, Max. You're absolutely correct. Rain says, derecho, I think you know what I mean, weather on the go. So, yeah, so again, if I get one this year, I will mark my weather. Oh, you're talking about, okay, well, we're talking about hurricanes too, so I don't know if you're talking about a derecho or hurricane. Yeah, you could get one this year. Who knows? A lot of time between now and then. Come on, guys. We've been stuck at 117 likes here for the past, it seems like forever. Come on, guys. Hit that like button. Let's get more people here into the live stream. Please, please, please press that like button. Definitely appreciate it. Seems like we've been stuck at the same number for years now. I know it sounds pretty crazy. Yeah, it's interesting. William says I'm looking forward to your late winter and spring prognostications. Yes, I'm looking forward to releasing my early spring thoughts and forecasts going into, again, later this month. I know spring is a while away and it doesn't officially start till March 21st. That's when spring equinox is, but meteorological spring actually starts technically on March 1st, and it's getting closer. We're only a couple months away from that, and yeah, I'll be releasing my early thoughts on spring probably later this month, closer to the 31st time frame of January, getting close to early February there. So we'll be seeing that. Oh wait, was that derecho in Iowa? Was it 2020 or 2021? I don't even remember. It just seems like it was just yesterday, but I don't even remember at this point. I think either 2020 or 2021, but I know it was in August. I think it was 2020. Could be wrong though. It also flattened hundreds of thousands of acres of crops, especially corn in the upper Ohio Valley and the plains. Yes, I remember seeing pictures of that. Do you guys see pictures of that? Oh, it was the 2021 derecho, William. Okay, thank you. Yes, okay, so I stand corrected. The 2021 derecho. I know it was just a couple years ago, but I know that we flipped the calendar to 2023. I'm losing my mind right now. Sorry, guys. But yeah, 2021, that was the year that moved through, and it was. Yeah, I saw pictures of all the flattened corn out there. That corn flattened pretty well, like a pancake in a lot of those fields out into the Midwest. I know pictures from Iowa, eastern Iowa, around the Cedar Rapids, Iowa area. It was pretty devastating. Those silos were like bent in half like toys. It was crazy. Just some of the damage that came from that derecho. Okay, yeah. Third rail says yes. Black Hills and is that's South Dakota, right? Or is the Black Hills in both North and South Dakota? See, I'm not familiar with that. I'm in the Midwest, but not that far north. The last derecho I had was back in 2019. It was called the double derecho. Huh. I think I remember that one. Was it the Mid Atlantic or something, or the Ohio Valley that caused that, or that had that derecho? Yeah, well, 2019 was known for not really the derecho. 2019 was known for the big cold outbreak in the winter. You guys remember back in 2019, the winter was insanely cold up into Minnesota. There was wind chills down to 65 degrees below zero, I believe, Fahrenheit. Yeah, Fahrenheit across Minnesota. It was crazy. It was a real cold 2019. I think that was in, if I'm not mistaken, was it December 2019? I think it was December 2019. Going into January of 2020 with that. It's really, really cold though. Eric says I'm mostly interested in mid-February here in a few weeks. I'll be forecasting that here in the next couple of weeks, getting closer to middle of February. It's too far out to know for sure, but I would say wherever you live, whether it's in Texas or Florida or Illinois, if you guys live in any of those states in the middle of February, beware. Cold air and snow will be moving south. I promise you that. It just might take some time, but once it gets here, it'll be staying here for a while, and I think winter will be here to stay for quite some time, getting into especially February. So. Rain says, I'm subscribed now, so that's good. Well, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you guys are just joining, again, press that like button. We're at 122 likes. Let's try to get to 200 likes, guys, on this live stream. Let's get to 200 likes. Let's get more people into the live stream. Appreciate it. The more likes you guys put down here, the more people join. So press that like button. Every single one of you guys here in the live stream. I want to see that number go up like crazy these next few minutes. All right, let's see here. Eric says, I know it's hard to give a prediction over a month out. So here in like 2 to 3 weeks, I'm looking forward to a February outlook. Last year I lost power for a week and no water in February. Wow. Wait, did you live? Was that in Texas? I think Texas in February. That was that big cold outbreak that affected Texas, and didn't it knock out the power grid or something like that? Here, just one moment, guys. I gotta drink. I gotta drink some more water. Been talking this whole time. Just a minute. Yeah, I think that was back in February of what was it? 2 years ago? 1 year, 2 years ago, I believe. Last February, maybe. I don't know. These years fly by so much. Couldn't tell you. Terrell says Georgia snow, maybe toward the beginning or middle of February. It's possible, especially northern Georgia, Atlanta on north, Atlanta Metro on north. Possible. It doesn't look like anything too crazy though for Georgia, because of course you live in Georgia, so it's not you're not going to be getting a foot of snow in Atlanta, Georgia. I can tell you that. Nothing that extravagant down that far south. If you want snow, you're living in the wrong state for that. Third Rail says, I think there could be some hills in North Dakota, but mainly in South Dakota and a bit in Nebraska. Okay, that's cool. Okay, oh, January of 2019. Thank you, Max. Okay, yes, January of 2019. That's when those extreme wind chills of 50, 60, 65 below were occurring there in Minnesota. It was really, really, yeah, it was cold, to say the very least. Cold with an underline under it. It was cold. Yes, William. Yes, you're correct. Winter of 2019 and 20, I think. Yeah, the cold. Yes, it was very cold that year for sure. Eric confirms that as well. He says, "Yes, sir." Thank you joining. Thanks for joining everybody again. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Terrell. Thank you, Third Rail. Thank you, Eric and William and Aaron. Thank you to Susie from earlier. Thank you to Mark. Mark, I missed your question here. What are your odds? What are the odds of a major nor'easter in New Jersey next weekend? Not going to happen. We'll just put it that way. 0%. There's going to be no major nor'easter in the Northeast next weekend. That is a nil. No way. There's not enough moisture. All the moisture is out west. So there's no moisture in the east. And if there is, there's not much. So the jet stream pattern doesn't look favorable for a nor'easter next weekend. So maybe a couple of inches of snow, especially in the the higher elevations of the Appalachian chain, and maybe interior New England toward the lake effect snow zones like Buffalo, New York, and stuff like that. But other than that, we're not seeing anything too extravagant really at all. So no blockbuster snows anytime soon for the Northeast. Maybe toward the end of the month in early February, like I was saying earlier. Yeah, in Chicago, yes, Max, you're correct. Chicago had historic cold. It was cold in Chicago. I live in Illinois, and a few hours southwest of Chicago. That's where so it's cold. Terrell says, I wish. Hey, you never know. You never know. 2023, it's a new year. There could be some snow farther south. You just never know, man. You never know, man. We'll wait and see as we get closer. I'll keep all you guys informed, and again, I'm dedicated to keeping all you guys informed on my weather videos in the morning, so you guys know that you guys get the utmost accurate weather forecasts. As you guys know, if you've watched my videos, I go into depth very much so with the weather patterns, with looking at the troughs and the upper levels, and we look at the atmosphere from the top down and we figure out why we're seeing it. Not just showing you the weather, I'm showing you why you're seeing it. Not a lot of YouTubers do that, I don't think, and I like showing that because so you guys understand. It's more educational as well, so you guys understand why it happens. So if you see that pattern and you look at the weather models yourself, then you could say, okay, well, this pattern looks favorable for this. So I like showing that. What did you miss, Phantom? What did you miss? Oh, what'd you miss? You're asking a question? Just the long range weather forecast. No, you can scroll back to the beginning of the live stream. Um, I have that there. I'm just leaving it on the satellite imagery right now, just because we're doing more of a podcast style type of Friday afternoon live stream today, just more of a podcast style. But I'm still answering questions and reading your comments and everything, trying to get to everybody's comments, questions, and concerns. I'll have a new video out tomorrow morning at around 9 a.m. Aaron says, when will winter make a return for southern Indiana? I remember the Christmas Eve snowstorm of 2004. Evansville, Indiana received almost 2 feet of snow. Wow, 23 inches. It snowed heavy for 2 days straight. Wow. Yeah, I think like I said, late January. I think you just joined though, so you probably didn't hear me earlier. Yeah, late January into early February and really much of February is the prime time for cold and very snowy there, potentially into southern Indiana. You might be in the prime area there for snow in southern Indiana, right in the Ohio Valley, so closer to the Ohio River. Dean says 1861 to 62, arc storm rained 43 days straight. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that's a lot of rain. That is a lot of rain, certainly. If anyone is asking where all the moisture is, it's in California. Yeah, he's correct. Rain Maves, you are correct. There is a lot of rain out west. That is for certain. Rain and heavy snow, especially the Sierra Nevadas, guys. There's going to be over 100 inches of snow in the Sierra Nevadas, the Sierra Nevada mountains, as we get through the next, 7 to 10 to 14 days, the next 2 weeks. It's going to be very snowy out there. Hey Simon, thanks for joining. Thank you for joining Phantom, Simon, and definitely appreciate you guys joining the live stream. Again, just kind of doing more of a podcast type style live stream today. Again, you guys can see the satellite imagery showing you guys the the satellite imagery of all the storminess coming into the West Coast there with all the rain and crashing into Washington State, Oregon, and California there, and even Nevada. So you guys can check that out on the screen. Yeah, Phantom says, I just got on. Well, thanks for joining. Definitely good Friday afternoon to you. You and Simon, thank you for joining. Simon says, I grew up in Montreal. For those who want snow, be careful what you ask for. Yeah, there's a lot. I think there's a pretty heavy snowpack up there. Am I wrong, Simon? I think there's a couple feet of snow on the ground up around Montreal, or at least north of Montreal. Look, Rain Maves praying for snow. William says, for many years, as I was fascinated by weather, I was too obsessed with what caused weather that was hard to figure out. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective to look at. Huh. That's an interesting perspective to look at, for sure. Yeah, Phantom says, I'm from California. We are getting slammed too right now here. Yes, while there's a little lull in the action right now, there could be some rain today, but the real heavy stuff, the real heavy rain and snow comes back on tomorrow through Sunday, and then Monday and Tuesday. There's a lot of precipitation moving in through those 4 days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Be aware in California and really much of the West as well, even Nevada, Washington State, Oregon State there. Yeah, it's going to be getting very wet across the West, and it's going to stay that way for a while. 1816 was known as the year without a summer. Wow. Yeah, wow. I was about negative 2,000 years old at that point. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, not all at once. They need the rain out west, but yes, Rain Maves is correct. Not all at once. A lot of that runs off, especially when you have drought. Are you guys for real not pressing that like button? Come on, press that like button, guys. 132 likes on this live stream, and I'm sitting here talking to you guys about the weather for 2 hours, and you only got 132 likes. Come on, guys. You guys can do better than that. I know there's people in the live stream right now that have not pressed the like button. Hit that like button. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I saw 2 more likes here. Thank you so much. Kenny Lee says, when do you expect snow again in the Boise area? Probably, honestly, getting in towards, let's say, early next week, because there's going to be a system, like I said, moving in Monday, Tuesday, and there could be some snow there. But a lot of the precipitation moving inland is just going to move into California, Western Nevada, Oregon, and Washington State, and just kind of stay there. It's not going to really move too much more across those areas. It's just kind of going to stay there and maybe move northeast towards Idaho, like the Boise area, but not really looking at too much in the way of extreme snow or anything like that. Maybe some snow for the ski resorts, but that's about it. A few inches could be a good guess. I'm praying for California. Yes, let's pray for California. Again, lots of people live in California, and we want them to be as safe as possible, just like the rest of these 49 states that we have in the United States, and even Canada. We want you guys to be safe as well, especially with all that upcoming cold air toward the end of the month and then getting it towards February. Aaron says, I'm not giving up on winter. One year it was in the 70s in the second week of March in southern Indiana. That Friday we had 10 inches of snow. Are you talking about rain or snow? Obviously, you're probably talking about rain if you said you're in the 70s, right? I pushed the like button. Thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you for pushing the like button. Oh, of snow. Okay, gotcha. 10 inches, that's not bad. Yes, March, you can still get some big snows in March. I've even seen bigger snows in April. I mean, there was one time a couple years, I think it might have been 2019 or was it 2017? Because 2018 we didn't have much in April. It's either 2017 or 2019. I believe 2017 though, we had like 6 inches of snow, like April 4th or something. It was really crazy. That was up here in the Western Great Lakes. Just enough cold air. It was like 33 degrees and snowing out. And then the next day it melted. A lot of the snow was like 52 degrees the next day. We thought it was summer. All the snow melted. It got really muddy outside, and we're all playing in the mud. Robert says, again, thank you guys for the new people joining. James and Robert, thank you for joining the live stream as well as you, Aaron, too. Thank you for joining Dean. All you guys, thanks for joining the live stream. Good Friday afternoon to you. Again, the super stickers and super chat is down below if you guys want to donate to the channel. All you new people joining, you guys can donate. If you guys do not have to, of course. You guys don't have to donate any money, but I just wanted to let you know that the super stickers and super chat is down below if you want to donate any money to the channel here this afternoon. Every donation would be much appreciated. Thank you guys so much. But again, of course, you do not have to donate. Just want to let you know that's down there. James says February trending warm. It's trending warmer. Yeah. Right now it's warmer across the west, probably the eastern 2/3 of the United States, trending cold. So this is what we're calling right now, like more of a January thaw, because you remember all that really cold air we had back in December there, the end of December toward Christmas time frame. That all moved out, and I knew there was going to, like I always say, what comes up must go down, or what comes down must go up, because eventually it's going to get warm again. And we just kind of did that temperature flip-flop. We flipped back to a warmer than average pattern now, and we're kind of stuck here for a while until all the storms out west in California decide they want to rain themselves out in the next 2 weeks. We'll wait and see. Robert says, when is Michigan going to see some cold weather so we can get some ice? Looks like the end of January into February, especially early February, you're going to be getting lots of cold air. We could be seeing below zero high temperatures. I'm talking 10, 20 below for highs, potentially towards the upper Midwest. We'll wait and see. The depth of that cold air is very uncertain, but it definitely could be getting a lot colder, that's for sure. Yeah, James. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's crazy. A lot of rain in California, a lot of cold coming our way. Simon says, so far the cold has been seasonable or above. Yes, seasonal or above. That will be changing. I promise you guys. All you snow lovers in the live stream right now, I know you guys are here. Press the like button, and I will tell you some great news if you guys help me press the like button. Help my channel out by pressing the like button. No, but for real though, the snow lovers in this chat right now and the live stream. I feel for you guys. I'm a snow lover myself. My snowblower is currently collecting dust in my garage right now, but it is. I think I have fairly decent confidence, medium to high confidence, because we're a little ways away yet, but medium to high confidence that there's going to be storm systems moving across the eastern two-thirds of the country. There's going to be some spots getting ice and snow toward the end of January and into much of the month of February, and even probably even into March as well. But that cold air will be sticking around, through much of February, which will ensure us that any storm that moves through will likely drop winter precipitation, whether it's sleet, freezing rain with the ice storms, or heavy snow, stuff like that, the blizzards and whatnot. So, Rain Mave says this winter has been a dumpster fire. Eagle River did not build their. Would you agree? I'm not sure what that means, man. Third Rail says, how many of you have built a snowman this year? That's a good question. Not me. There's not been enough snow. Probably a lot of people haven't built snowman this year. There hasn't really been much snow where I live to even do snow angels or anything like that. It's just an inch here or there and it just melts in a week. Terrell says, hope Georgia gets some snow this year. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been quite a while. There's been some bigger snow events before in Georgia, but we'll just wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens here in the future. Moving forward. How is March looking in Nebraska? March is, like I said earlier to people that were joining earlier, I'm not going to release my March forecast quite yet. Later this month, I'll be outlining my early thoughts on spring. So if you guys want to join, sometime between January 20th and 31st, watching my videos and stuff, I'll be putting that information out there as soon as I can. I'm just gathering some information now, currently right now for my spring forecast. It takes a while to do a spring forecast. So, but if I had to guess, March is probably trending colder right now for much of the northern United States. Because I was looking at some of the guidance. It was trending colder, but again, that's a couple months away. It's a grain of salt right now. We'll continue to wait and see as we get closer. I'll be releasing that forecast later this month, Simon. Are you talking about Nebraska or New England? If you're talking about New England, yeah, it's the same way. Yeah, colder. I thought it was Nebraska. Those are the acronyms for the initials for Nebraska. I think you're talking about New England. It was cold last January, and it was enough to support an ice castle. Not so much this year. Okay, gotcha. James says, seems we get skipped over snow-wise in northeast Kentucky. Yeah, the Ohio Valley hasn't really had much snow, to be quite honest with you, and Kentucky really hasn't. Parts of Indiana and Ohio have, especially into those, near the lake there, and like Gary and South Bend, Indiana, northern Indiana there. Seen a lot of rain, or a lot of snow and rain too, yeah, but places up to the north, Detroit, up towards, Toledo, Columbus, they've seen a lot of snow, but yeah, I agree. Lexington, Kentucky, and Louisville, they really haven't had much snow. So, and even northeastern Kentucky as well, not much snow. Aaron says, too bad I can't show you all the 10-foot snowman my nephews and I built with only 2 inches of snow from the last winter storm after Christmas. Really? How'd you do that? Must have been some good snow, good packable snow to build a snowman. A 10-foot snowman, too. That's pretty impressive. You have to use a ladder for that, I imagine. William says, no snowman here. You got bare grounds, William? I know they're showing green grass here the other day. Now there's a little snow on the ground where I live. There's probably about, just a dusting to half an inch in spots. Yeah, Simon, you're correct. If you want some snow, you should have been in Buffalo, New York a couple of weeks ago. That's absolutely correct. There was a lot of snow there. Feet and feet of snow there for sure. Bruce, thank you for joining, Bruce. Good Friday afternoon to you. So, any snow in February for Portland, Oregon? I think so. I think there's some chances for snow in Portland, Oregon in February, but I think it will be warmer than average out west, so maybe more rain than snow, but there certainly could be some snow. Hard to say. I know there's very active where you're living out there in Portland, Oregon. Watch out for some heavy rain and snow there now, like through the next few days or so, the next couple weeks. William says, I'm going to predict a terrible severe storm tornado season for late winter, spring in the southeast. I think that's a good assumption. It's hard to say. Again, I'll be putting the data together, but usually when we come out of 3 La Ninas, again, this has only happened once or a couple times before. So this is at least in the modern era, and it's interesting. It will be interesting to see as we come out of a La Nina whether or not we will be seeing a lot more frequent severe weather events or not. So that will be interesting. But that's a good assumption. Yeah, no worries, Third Rail. Appreciate it. Rain Mave says, not for me. I expect a warm March with chances for storms. Well, if you live in the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes, I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't release my forecast yet, but I'll give you a little hint. It's not going to be warm in March in the Ohio Valley. I'll tell you that. Just looking at the longer range, the longer range guidance. So it could change. Again, it's a little bit of a grain of salt because March is a couple of months away, but it's been showing that the past couple of cycles of the climate model, so we'll continue to watch it. But if I had to put, put a bet down, I think that March would be colder than normal, and the eastern 2/3 of the country and the western 2/3 would be warmer than average. And then, of course, across the Great Plains, it'd probably be near average. So places like the Dakotas, maybe Iowa, getting back through Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, all those places down to Texas, Oklahoma, the Arklatex, all those areas probably be near normal during that time frame. Third Rail says, by the way, chat is faster than what you are able to comment on. A 5-minute delay, maybe. No, we're good. I'll just keep going down. Not a big deal. I'm trying to get to everybody's comments here. A little faster now. Pink Butterfly, thanks for joining this afternoon. Also, Ultimate Weather Center 5000 and Bobby, thank you for joining. Good Friday afternoon to you guys. Appreciate it. Again, if you guys are just joining, press that like button, guys. Let's get up to 200 likes within the next few minutes, guys. Hit that like button. Thank you so much. And Pink Butterfly says, just got here. What's the future for Northwest Ohio? Again, we're just doing more of a podcast style right now. But Northwest Ohio, there's going to be cold and it's going to get snowy, I think, late January through February. And we're already talking about March. Might as well throw March in there potentially as well as being active. At least active. I can't say whether or not it'll be rain or snow, but. Simon says, you going to be live every Friday? I'll try to be. I'm trying to do more of a regular schedule coming up, so. Bobby says, will any of this hit East Texas? No, East Texas is pretty much in the middle of nowhere when it comes to the weather for the next 2 weeks. There's going to be some rain in East Texas. There's going to be some rain in East Texas, but it's not going to be very heavy. Maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch towards Houston, getting up toward Tyler, Texas, and east of the I-35 corridor, east of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex there. And then getting over there toward Lake Charles and Shreveport, Louisiana, and they're in western and southwestern Louisiana. But other than that, we're not seeing much of the way of precipitation in Texas. You guys are much of the eastern 2/3 of the country are pretty much in the middle of nowhere when it comes to weather the next couple weeks. Ultimate Weather Center, can North Texas see a snowstorm this year? If they were going to, it would be in February. If you were going to, it would be in February. So that's your month. Mr. Indiana, thanks for joining this afternoon. Good Friday afternoon to you. Hello. I see you said hello, Weather on the Go. William says, weather in the go knows better than I, but the atmospheric river moisture looks to stay a bit further north to the north of Texas. Just my thoughts. Really, just to the west. I mean, the atmospheric river is only moving into the west coast. We're not seeing much of that precipitation moving farther east, really, through this week. It's just kind of sticking around across the west coast for the most part. I mean, some storms might try to move across the country, but once they do and we reach the mid-Mississippi Valley, the Ohio Valley in the east, it's not going to have much moisture to work with. It's just going to be kind of cut off. The moisture will be cut off across the west once these systems move from west to east. So severe weather may be returning, possibly. Yeah, I just answered that. Ultimate weather. Can North Texas see a winter storm? If you were going to see it, it would be in February. Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. You may not have heard me, but rain, Mave. So just giving everyone a heads up on that. Severe weather. It's pretty. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement to say that severe weather will be returning. I mean, you can't really predict that far out. But I think the big picture is there for maybe some severe weather across the southeast. That's what I mentioned earlier. But specific areas, if there is any, I mean, we'd be grasping at straws right now, thinking about that. All right, guys, have any more questions or anything like that? I think, again, I haven't eaten a single thing today, to be honest with you. So I'm getting kind of hungry and getting ready for dinner and a late afternoon snack here. If you guys have any more questions, I will be answering those within the next few minutes. Again, thank you guys so much for joining the live stream this afternoon. I'll try to do this more often, especially Friday afternoons and during the weekends when more people are off work, so we can get more of this information out to as many people as possible. Thanks for all the likes out there, the 150 likes. Hit the like button on the way out, guys, if you guys are leaving and after this live stream is over. And again, I will have a new video for all of you guys in the morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. You guys can count on that each and every morning for the most part. So thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. And again, thank you guys so much for joining the live streams as always. I'll also be, keeping you in the loop for the potential weather trivia night, the game trivia night. We'll be trying to coordinate that later on, maybe this next weekend or toward the end of January. I know a lot of people are interested about answering weather questions out there and stuff like that, and getting more educated. It's more of an educational type of style. I'll be asking questions. You guys all answer questions that I have in the live stream. We'll do kind of a trivia night. People get points and stuff like that. Eventually, we might do like a tournament style. Like if you get the question wrong, then you're eliminated from the chat and you're eliminated from the live stream and stuff like that. So, or at least not the live stream, but the chat. So that would be kind of putting an interesting spin on it. I saw a video on it. Okay. Well, just because you see a video on it doesn't mean it's true, right? That's just like saying I typed it in on Google. Google knows everything. I mean, there's a lot that can change, Well, the thing is, with severe weather going 5 days out in the models, that's probably not the best thing to do, rain. But when you're talking about the big picture and seeing like looking at pattern recognition and looking at analogs, then yes, you could look that far out. But other than that, other than putting out the pattern recognition and looking at past analogs to see what could happen in the future, there's not really much that you could do otherwise until it gets closer. You're right. William says, thanks, Weather on the Go. Thanks, sir. Much appreciated. No problem. I'll be keeping you in the loop for that trivia night coming up, hopefully next weekend, but especially hopefully toward the end of January. I'll be coordinating that, and I'll be putting that in my community tab on my YouTube channel here coming up in the days ahead. I'll try to put that in during the middle of the week to give you a few days or so, everyone a few days or so of time to prepare for that, or at least get made aware of that. So we'll be coordinating that possibly later on this month. Is this looped? No, I'm live right now. There's no loop. You can go back and watch this live stream if you want, but after it's over and all that, or just scroll back right now and look at the long range forecast. But William, I'm all in for trivia night. Well, there you go. There you go, man. Maybe later on this month we'll try and coordinate that, like I said. Aaron says our neighbors let us use their snow in the yard and driveway to build our 10-foot snowman. Yes, we did use a ladder to put those the nose, eyes, and mouth on the face. We made the local news. Well, that's really cool. We'll have to check that out. I'll see what news station did that. What news station did that? I'll have to check that out here after the live stream so I can see your 10-foot snowman. Is it still on the news now? If they go onto like a news page or something? I'm going to go check that out. 10-foot snowman. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, no problem, William. Yeah, you're welcome. It's finally going to be sunny. Yeah, there's not been a lot of sun up here where I'm at. A lot of cloudy days lately. I'm hoping to see the sun up here too one of these days. It's supposed to be sunny tomorrow, so hopefully that still happens. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining the live stream. Again, I haven't eaten a single thing today. I'm going to go get some dinner and get some food to eat so I can have more energy for later to do my video. And again, I'll be doing my video later on tonight and getting the information for that this afternoon and this evening, doing the video tonight, and then publishing it early on tomorrow morning around 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Again, if you guys on the way out haven't pressed the like button, press the like button. It's the thumbs up button. And if you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below and also the notification bell, that bell icon, to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. And again, we'll have a video tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining. I definitely appreciate it, and have a great rest of your weekend out there. Stay safe.